It is late at night, and you are tired, but your mind keeps replaying the same thoughts about money. Bills waiting on the counter, a balance that feels heavier every month. Questions you never asked out loud, but carry quietly inside. Tonight, this story will be different. Tonight, you will listen, learn, and rest while the truth about credit cards unfolds. This video will walk you through the hidden traps of credit cards that most people never explain. You will hear about why minimum payments keep you stuck, why interest grows faster than you expect, and how rewards often cost more than they give back. You will learn how missed payments trigger fees and higher rates, and why credit utilization affects your score even when you pay on time. You will also hear the softer side, the protections and benefits that can help you when you know how to use them wisely. Every chapter will give you one clear picture, one human story, and one emotional lesson. You will see yourself in people who faced the same fears. You will hear the weight of their silence and the relief when they understood the rules. You will feel less alone in your late-night worry. And you will walk away not only with knowledge, but also with a calmer heart that can sleep easier. Stay with this journey because each part builds gently on the one before it. First, you will step into the fog of confusion that most people feel when they hold their first card. Then you will hear the wake-up moments, the mistakes, and the lessons that change direction. At the end, you will enter the redesign, where money is not fear, but safety, not chaos, but peace. By the final chapter, you will have a softer map for living with credit and a new way of thinking about your money story. You should keep listening because the traps are not obvious. They hide in the small print of statements, in the silence of minimum payments, in the promise of points that feel like gifts. They hide in late fees that arrive like quiet punishments, and in balances that grow even while you sleep. These are the traps that keep people anxious for years. But when you hear them explained in gentle language, they stop being traps and start being choices. This story will also soothe you while you learn. The pace will be slow, the words clear, the rhythm calm. You will not feel rushed or scolded. You will feel guided, step by step, through each moment. You will hear stories of people who struggled like you and found peace. And you will be invited to imagine small actions that ease your stress without pressure. You will learn about the numbers, but through feelings and pictures. You will understand why interest is like water dripping day after day, why minimum payments stretch for years, why rewards are like candy with a hidden cost. You will see why carrying a balance hurts your score even when you pay every month, and why closing an old card sometimes makes things worse. These lessons will be shared slowly, so you can rest as you absorb them. By the end of this video, you will not only know the traps, but also the quiet ways to avoid them. You will know how to keep your grace period safe, how to use auto pay as a shield, and how to pay in ways that cut down interest without extra stress. You will know how to use credit for protection instead of fear, for building your future instead of feeding your worry. Most of all, you will understand that your story with money is not a story of failure. It is a story of learning. If you have felt shame for carrying debt, if you have hidden your bills from others, if you have lost sleep wondering how you fell behind, this story is for you. You will see that millions share the same struggle, and you will feel a soft release knowing you are not strange or broken. So listen closely, because each part of this journey will answer the questions that keep you awake. What is really happening when you swipe your card? Why does the balance never seem to fall? What happens if you miss a due date? Why do the points you earn feel smaller than the payments you send? What do banks hope you never notice? These are the questions that will be answered tonight. You are here because you want both peace and clarity. You want to rest without the weight of worry. You want to wake up with a new way of seeing your finances. This video was designed for that very need. It is long, it is calm, and it is paced to help you fall asleep while learning. The lessons will stay with you tomorrow, even if you drift off tonight. That is the gift of this journey. So let your body settle as you prepare to follow the story. Keep listening as we move from the surface into the heart of the traps. Stay until the end, because only then will the whole picture make sense. You will not only know the dangers, but also the gentle ways through them. By the final chapter, you will see credit cards not as hidden enemies, but as tools you can hold without fear. And as the story begins, ask yourself softly, what was the very first moment you felt uneasy with money? Was it the first time you opened a bill? Was it when someone in your family argued about debt? Was it when you signed your name on your first card without knowing what it really meant? That memory is where our story will begin. The room is quiet, and you are still lying in bed thinking about that first memory of money. It might be a childhood moment when you saw your parents whispering over bills at the kitchen table. It might be a time when a letter arrived with red print on it and the mood in the house changed. Or it might be something smaller, like wanting a toy at the store and hearing the words, "We cannot afford it." These early moments live inside us longer than we think. As children, we do not understand interest rates or statements. We only feel the tone in the air, the sigh in someone's voice, the pause before a card is swiped, the tension when a check bounces. These are quiet lessons that shape how we feel about money before we even earn a dollar. And when we grow up and hold our own first card, those feelings rise again, waiting to guide or trouble us. Think back to the first time you held a shiny new credit card. The plastic was smooth and it carried your name in neat letters. Someone said, "This is yours now." You felt proud, maybe even powerful. At the same time, there was confusion. What exactly was this little card? Was it money? Was it debt? No one really explained, so you stepped forward, like many do, into a fog that seemed harmless at first. The fog begins with small swipes. A pizza with friends, a gas tank filled late at night, a pair of shoes you did not want to wait for. Each swipe feels light because the card always says yes. The real weight does not arrive until later when the bill comes. The bill is the mirror that shows you what the fog was hiding. For many, that is the first moment of fear. When the statement arrives, there are numbers on it that do not feel like your own. You remember some of the purchases, but not all. You thought you spent less, but the total seems higher. Then your eyes fall on a smaller box at the bottom. Minimum payment due. It feels like a relief. You think maybe I only need to pay that. You pay it, and the pressure lifts, but you do not yet see the trap forming. This is how it starts for so many. Not with reckless spending, but with simple needs and small wants. The credit card becomes both a helper and a hidden cost. It carries you through the week, but asks for more in return later. You are not told clearly that interest grows each day. You are not told that paying the minimum keeps you on the wheel for years. You only find out when the balance barely shrinks, month after month. In this first chapter of our story, we will stay with that fog. It is important to sit here because this is where most money anxiety begins. The fog is made of silence. Parents rarely explained it. Schools did not teach it. Friends did not share the truth. The silence leaves you thinking you are the only one who feels lost. But look around. Millions of people are in the same fog. Research shows that more than half of young adults report irregular income. Many work gig jobs or shift hours that change from month to month. In that uncertainty, the credit card feels like stability. You swipe today and promise yourself you will pay it back when money is better. But then the month ends and another cycle begins. Slowly, the fog thickens. Slowly, the balance rises. You are still walking, but you cannot see the road. The fog is not only about numbers, it is about identity. You start to believe that being good with money means never feeling confused. You think that if you are lost, then something is wrong with you. This belief is heavy. It keeps you quiet when you could ask for help. It makes you feel shame when you open your statement. It makes you feel alone in a struggle that is shared by millions. But there is another truth. Confusion is not failure. Confusion is the first stage of learning. When you feel fog around money, it means you are about to see something more clearly. Just like dawn slowly clears the mist in a field, understanding begins with noticing. Tonight, you are noticing. You are looking at the fog of your first money memories. That noticing is already a step out of silence. Let us pause here. Breathe in, breathe out. Your body carries memories of financial stress, even if they were not your own. A parent who argued, a sibling who asked for help, a teacher who said nothing about money at all. Those memories live in your chest, your shoulders, your stomach. When you breathe and notice them, they start to soften. They start to lose power. You begin to reclaim your story. Imagine again the first time you wanted something as a child. Maybe it was ice cream on a hot day. Maybe it was a video game. Maybe it was clothes that everyone else had. If the answer was no, you might have felt a pang of shame. If the answer was yes, but with worry, you might have felt guilt. These small emotional knots shape how we later spend on credit. They whisper to us when we swipe. They tell us to avoid the truth until later. Now picture your first paycheck, holding cash or seeing numbers appear in your account. For a moment, you felt grown, like you were stepping into independence. But if you already carried early knots of shame or guilt, the money felt fragile. The card seemed safer than cash because it delayed the pain of paying. But safety was an illusion. The card did not erase the knots. It only tied them tighter over time. Why should you keep listening to this story? Because untangling those knots changes everything. When you know why you fear statements, why you hide balances, why you avoid checking accounts, you begin to see clearly. You learn that the fog was never permanent. It was a cover that kept you blind. Once you understand, you step into light. That light is what this whole video will give you. So as you lie here listening, let yourself recall your earliest shadow of money. Was it fear? Was it silence? Was it shame? Hold it softly in your mind. Know that it belongs to the past. The present is different. You are listening, you are learning, you are safe. The fog cannot hold you if you see it. In this chapter, you have seen how credit often enters life in silence. You have seen how small swipes build into heavy statements. You have felt how childhood money memories shape adult spending. And you have heard that confusion is not failure, but the start of clarity. This is the truth of the first shadow. It matters because every financial journey begins here. And yet, the story does not end in fog. Something happens that shakes the silence. A moment arrives when the hidden cost becomes impossible to ignore. It might be a denied card at the register. It might be a sudden late fee. It might be the day your score drops, and you do not know why. These moments are the first cracks in the fog. In the next chapter, we will walk into one of those cracks. We will sit with the weight of interest, the quiet drip that grows balances while you sleep. We will hear how it works, how it feels, and why so many miss its presence. And we will see how noticing that drip changes everything. You are still lying in bed, resting after the fog of the first chapter. You remember how silence and confusion shaped your earliest money memories. You remember how the first card felt like freedom and fear at the same time. Now we step deeper. Beyond the fog, there is something quieter, almost invisible, that many never notice until years later. It is the steady drip of interest, working in the background, changing the cost of everything you buy. Interest does not shout. It does not warn you. It does not call you to tell you what it is doing. Interest is the soft tick of a clock you forgot to wind, steady and unnoticed. When you carry a balance from one month to the next, interest wakes up. It takes the number you owe and adds a little more each day. At first, the drip seems harmless, only a few cents, but over weeks and months, those drips pool together into something heavy. Think of a young worker named Daniel. He got his first card in college, he bought groceries and gas, and sometimes went out with friends. His balance grew to $1,000. He thought paying the minimum was enough. Each month he sent in $30 and felt safe. But each month, interest added more than $20 back to the balance. His payment was barely moving the number. After a year, his $1,000 debt had grown to almost $1,200. Daniel wondered why it never went down. The answer was the quiet drip. Interest works daily. It takes your annual percentage rate, breaks it into small daily bites, and sprinkles those bites onto your balance. If your rate is high, the bites are larger. If your balance is high, the pool fills faster. This is why so many people feel like their card balance lives forever. They think they are paying it down, but interest keeps rebuilding the hill they are climbing. The climb feels endless, and the fog thickens again. The emotional weight of this drip is heavy. You might remember checking your balance and feeling a twist in your stomach. You think I paid last month, why does it still look the same? That question eats away at your sense of control. The truth is simple but hidden. Your payment was mostly feeding interest, not freeing you. Once you see this, you can understand why minimum payments are a trap designed to stretch time instead of end debt. This truth matters because it shifts the story. Debt is not always about overspending or lack of discipline. Debt often lingers because interest keeps breathing life back into the balance. Many people blame themselves when they should be blaming the system that profits from slow repayment. Banks make billions each year from this drip. It is their business model. Knowing this helps you release shame. The problem is not that you are weak. The problem is that the system rewards your confusion. Let us pause and breathe again. Feel how your body reacts when you think about interest. Do you feel your chest tighten? Do you feel your shoulders rise? Those are signs of the hidden stress you carry. Interest is not only a number on a statement, it is also the weight you feel when you lie awake, wondering why your hard work never seems enough. When you name this, you take the first step toward peace. Now picture someone else, a young woman named Leela. She bought a laptop for work, thinking it would pay for itself. The laptop cost $800. She made her minimum payments faithfully. After 2 years, she had paid more than the cost of the laptop, yet still owed over $500. The laptop was old, the debt was still alive, and the drip had stolen her sense of progress. This is the hidden trap of interest. It is not only about numbers, it is about time. Interest stretches the life of your debt far beyond the life of the things you bought. A dinner lasts an evening, but its cost lives on for months. A pair of shoes wears out, but the balance clings to your statement. This mismatch creates shame. You feel silly for still paying for something you no longer even own. The shame deepens the silence, and the silence feeds the cycle. But clarity is softer than shame. Once you see how interest works, you can understand why balances linger. You can see the drip not as a failure of will, but as a design of the system. You can tell yourself, it is not me who is broken, it is the system that thrives on my confusion. That shift frees your heart to think differently. It lets you rest without blaming yourself for every dollar still owed. Why should you stay with this story? Because learning about interest is the first crack in the wall. When you understand the drip, you stop blaming yourself. When you stop blaming yourself, you feel lighter. And when you feel lighter, you can see options. Options bring peace. Peace makes sleep possible. That is the gift of knowing. Interest is also tied to your habits. The moment you carry a balance, your grace period is gone. From then on, every new purchase starts to earn interest right away. This is the hidden cost that surprises many people. They think they can pay it off later, but later always carries more weight. Seeing this clearly is like turning on a nightlight. The room is no longer dark. You can see what is around you, and it feels less scary. Let us sit with another story. Imagine a young couple, Maya and Jordan. They used their card to cover moving costs. They thought they would pay it off quickly, but one job ended, and another took months to start. Their balance stayed. They paid what they could, but interest grew faster than their payments. Over 2 years, their balance doubled. They felt hopeless until they finally learned why. The daily drip had been their quiet companion. Seeing it explained made them cry with relief. They were not lazy, they were not careless, they were trapped by a rule they never understood. Stories like these are everywhere. Millions of people carry balances, millions pay minimums, millions lose sleep, yet the silence remains. Few talk about the design of interest. Few explain how it grows. That silence keeps the cycle alive. But you are hearing it now. You are breaking the silence in your own life by listening and learning. That matters more than you know. Interest is not evil. It is simply a cost for borrowing money. But when it hides, when it is not explained, it becomes a trap. Knowledge changes that. With knowledge, you can choose. You can borrow with awareness. You can decide if the cost is worth it. You can feel safe saying yes or no. This is the power of seeing the drip instead of ignoring it. Let your breathing slow again. Notice how your body feels when you imagine the drip. Notice the relief when you realize the trap is not your fault. Feel the space that opens when shame leaves. That space is peace. That peace is yours to keep tonight. We have walked through the fog. We have heard the drip. We have seen how it shapes shame and silence. We have noticed how it steals time from our lives. We have learned that knowledge is the first step to freedom. These lessons are the heart of this chapter. Carry them gently as you rest. And yet, there is more. Interest is only one layer of the trap. Another layer hides in the smallest box on your statement. The box labeled minimum payment. It looks friendly. It looks safe, but it stretches your debt into years. In the next chapter, we will open that box. We will see why the minimum feels like a gift but acts like a chain. You are resting deeper now, listening to the steady breath of the night. In the last chapter, you heard about interest, the quiet drip that grows balances while you sleep. You saw how it stretches the cost of what you bought into years. Tonight, we turn to another hidden shape inside the same trap. It is the small box on your statement that says minimum payment due. The box looks like a friend, but its kindness is only a mask. The minimum feels safe because it tells you that you are still in good standing. You think as long as you send this amount, everything is fine. The card stays open. Your account shows current and no late fees appear. But what the box hides is the truth about time. Paying the minimum keeps you in the cycle for years, sometimes decades, and most of your payment goes to interest instead of freedom. Think of someone named Erin. She had a balance of $2,000 on her card. The minimum was $40. Each month she paid it, proud that she was never late, but each month only $15 reached the balance. The rest fed the interest. After a year, she had paid nearly $500 but still owed more than $1,800. Her trust in the minimum had quietly stolen her progress. The math of the minimum is designed to keep you moving slowly. Many banks set it as a small percentage of your balance, sometimes only 2 or 3%. When your balance is large, that number feels tiny compared to what you owe. You are tempted to think of it as a kindness, but in truth, it is a leash. The smaller the payment, the longer the leash. You keep walking, but you never move far. This is why so many people feel like their debt never ends. They are not careless, they are following the box on the page. They are trusting the system to guide them, and the system rewards their trust with years of interest. This is not a personal failure, it is a design that profits from confusion. Once you see this, the shame begins to lift. You realize the weight you carried was not only yours. Pause here and breathe. Feel your body soften as you understand this truth. Let the guilt loosen. If you have paid only the minimum in the past, know that you are not foolish. You are following the only guidance you were given. That is what most people do. Tonight, you are learning the story behind the box. That learning is already a step toward peace. Another story can help us. Marcus worked in retail and often used his card for groceries and bills. His balance rose to $3,000. The minimum payment was about $60 a month. He paid it faithfully for years. One day he checked the small print on his statement. It said that if he kept paying only the minimum, it would take him more than 20 years to pay off the balance. He was shocked. He realized he had been buying time, not freedom. What Marcus saw on his statement is called a repayment warning. By law, card companies must now tell you how long it will take to pay off your balance if you make only the minimum. They must also show you how much faster you could pay if you increased the payment. These warnings are like small lanterns in the fog. They show you the path you are on, even if it is long and winding. Hearing this can stir emotions. You may feel regret for the years you trusted the box. You may feel anger at the system that let you walk so far without progress. Let those feelings rise, and then let them go. They are natural, but they are not your identity. You are here, you are listening, and you are learning. That is what matters. Let us stay with another quiet picture. A young woman named Sophia had a card balance of $1,000. Her minimum was $25. She wanted to be free sooner, so she decided to pay $50 instead. By doubling the payment, she cut the time down by more than half. The difference was not only in numbers, the difference was in how she felt. For the first time, she saw her balance shrink in real time. The relief gave her strength to keep going. This is the hidden lesson of the minimum. It is not a prison door that locks you. It is a slow path designed to stretch your journey. But if you step off that path, even by a little, you move faster. Paying more than the minimum changes everything. It is not about large sums. Even small increases make a difference because they go straight to the balance instead of feeding interest. Let your breathing slow again. Imagine yourself sending a payment that is more than the box asks for. Imagine the balance shrinking faster. Imagine the relief of seeing months cut off the timeline. That relief is real. It is waiting for you whenever you are ready. Knowing this now is enough. Why is this important for your story with money? Because it shows that progress is possible. It shows that you are not trapped forever. The minimum is only one path, not the only path. Once you see that, you begin to feel choice again. Choice is what brings back your power, and power is what helps you sleep without fear. Think of how different your life feels when you know the truth about the minimum. Instead of seeing the box as your friend, you see it as a reminder. A reminder that you can do more when you are ready. A reminder that time belongs to you, not to the bank. A reminder that every extra dollar is a step closer to freedom. Now imagine the people you know, friends, coworkers, family. Many of them are still paying only the minimum. Many of them still believe it is enough. They feel stuck and do not know why. If they heard what you have heard tonight, their hearts would feel lighter too. This is why stories matter. When we share them, we remind each other that we are not alone in the fog. We end this chapter with a softer truth. The minimum is not evil. It is a tool that keeps you current and prevents late fees, but it is not the path to peace. It is the path of waiting. You deserve more than waiting. You deserve freedom, and you deserve rest. Tonight, you have seen behind the mask. That sight is a gift to your future self. And yet, there is another layer to the trap. Beyond the fog and the drip and the minimum lies the sting of missing a payment altogether. When a due date is forgotten, the system responds quickly. Late fees appear, and interest rates can climb. In the next chapter, we will walk into that moment. We will feel the guilt of being late, and we will hear how to find calm even there. You are resting now with the weight of the last chapter still in your chest. You learned how the minimum payment is not freedom but a slow path that stretches debt into years. You saw how paying only the minimum feeds interest, while progress hides. Tonight, we step into another moment many people know too well. It is the day you miss a payment. The due date slips by, and the sting arrives quickly. Being late is not always about carelessness. Life is busy. A paycheck comes later than expected. An emergency pulls your attention away. The date hides in the middle of the week when your mind is full of other things. You think you will send it tomorrow, but tomorrow becomes next week. Then the statement arrives again, and with it a new line: late fee. It is a small word with a heavy cost. The first sting is money itself. A typical late fee is around $30, sometimes more. For some people, $30 is gas for the week or food on the table. Losing it to a fee feels unfair. It adds stress to an already heavy balance. The second sting is the fear of punishment. Many cards raise your interest rate after a late payment. A balance that was already hard to manage suddenly grows even faster. There is also an emotional sting. Shame. You feel careless for missing something simple. You worry that others will think you are irresponsible. You may hide the bill in a drawer, hoping the feeling fades. But hiding does not remove the fee. The silence only feeds the fear. This is why late payments feel so heavy. They are more than numbers. They are stories we tell ourselves about being unreliable or unworthy. But remember the truth from earlier chapters. Confusion is not failure. Delay is not proof that you are broken. It is proof that you are human. Everyone misses something. Everyone gets caught in the rush of life. The system, however, profits from this humanity. Late fees and penalty rates are part of the design. Once you see this, you can let go of some shame. The problem is not that you failed. The problem is that the rules are harsh. Think of a man named Carlos C. Worked 2 jobs and often forgot to check his mail. One month, he missed a due date by 5 days. His next statement showed a late fee of $40 and a notice that his interest rate could climb if he missed again. He felt angry at himself, but when he called his card company and explained, they removed the fee. He had never known he could ask. That call changed how he felt about mistakes. This story shows a quiet truth. Being late once does not end your journey. Many card companies will forgive the first late payment. If you ask kindly, they may remove the fee. They may restore your lower rate, but you must reach out. The system rarely offers kindness unless you ask. Knowing this softens the sting. It shows that mistakes are not the end. They are only moments that can be healed. There is also the matter of your credit report. A payment is not marked late on your credit record until it is more than 30 days past due. This means if you are only a few days late, you still have time to catch up before it harms your score. Many people do not know this. They panic at a small delay and think the damage is done. But the truth is gentler. Acting quickly can prevent the deeper scar. Pause here and breathe again. Think about the last time you were late on something. Not only a bill, maybe you were late to a meeting, maybe you missed a call. Did that one moment erase your worth? Or did people understand? Often, the fear is louder than the reality. Money systems are stricter, but even here, there is space for repair. You are not ruined by one mistake. You are still whole. Now let us hear about Dana. She was caring for her sick mother and lost track of dates. When she finally checked her account, she saw a late fee and a balance higher than expected. She felt guilt pressing down on her. Instead of hiding, she called her bank. They set up autopay for the minimum, so she would never miss again. From then on, even if life grew chaotic, her account stayed current. That small change gave her peace she had never felt before. This is another lesson from the sting. Mistakes often lead to systems. When you feel the pain of being late, you may be pushed to create guardrails. Autopay for the minimum reminders on your phone, a calendar note on payday. These are gentle supports that protect your future self. They do not erase the past, but they keep the sting from repeating. Each support is a gift of care for your own life. But what about when lateness happens more than once? Some people fall into a cycle where every month feels rushed and a payment slips through. The fees stack up and the interest rate climbs. This is where the shame feels deepest. Yet even here, there are ways forward. Speaking with a credit counselor, combining balances into one payment, or setting up a plan with the bank are all options. What matters is breaking the silence. Silence is heavier than debt. Speaking begins the release. Let us soften with a reflection. Think of how many times in life you learned through mistakes. Falling when you were learning to walk, stumbling on a word when you were learning to read, missing a note when you were learning to play. Each mistake was part of the path. Late payments are the same. They are not proof of weakness. They are steps in the journey of learning how credit works. There is still another sting that hides after being late. Losing your grace period. Once you miss, many cards remove the days where purchases are interest-free. New charges start building interest immediately. This change is rarely explained in simple words. You only notice when balances rise faster. This hidden shift is one of the most punishing effects of being late. Seeing it now gives you the power to protect against it. Breathing again, you can feel the rhythm of this chapter. The sting is real, but it is not the end. Late fees hurt, but they can be forgiven. Rates can rise, but they can also fall again. Reports can mark you, but only if the lateness is long. Systems can punish, but they can also teach you to build new habits. Every sting holds a seed of change. That seed is already growing in you as you listen. Think of the strength in knowing this truth. You do not need to fear a single mistake. You do not need to drown in shame for being late once. You can act, you can repair, you can build supports that make tomorrow easier. This is the soft power of learning. It does not erase the past, but it gives peace for the future. That peace is enough for sleep tonight. We will close this chapter with the final reflection. Being late is not a story of failure. It is a story of being human in a system designed with sharp edges. You are still worthy of care, still able to grow, still on your path. Let this truth sink into your breath as you drift toward rest. The sting has been felt, and now it is softer. And yet, another layer waits ahead. Beyond late fees and penalty rates lies the bright lure of rewards. Points, miles, and cashback shine like promises of free gifts. They call to you at the register, tempting you to spend more. But what hides behind the glitter? In the next chapter, we will listen to the song of rewards and learn why the gift often costs more than it gives. You are still resting, your breath steady, after hearing about the sting of late payments. You felt how missing a due date can bring fees, shame, and higher rates. You also heard how small supports like reminders and autopay can soften the risk. Now we turn to another part of credit cards that feels friendly but carries its own trap. It is the shine of rewards, the promise of free points, miles, or cashback. Rewards are advertised everywhere. You see posters that say earn double points. You hear offers of free travel with sign-up bonuses. You get emails telling you that you are missing out. The message is simple. Spend with your card and you will be rewarded. It feels generous, almost like the bank is giving back. But what often hides beneath is a design to make you spend more than you planned. Think of Rachel, a young teacher. She loved the idea of earning points for travel. Each time she used her card, she felt like she was closer to a vacation. She started buying coffee on her card instead of with cash, just to add points. Soon, she used the card for groceries, clothes, and gifts. Her points grew, but so did her balance. At the end of the year, she had earned enough for a short trip, but she had paid hundreds in interest. The free vacation was not free at all. This is the quiet truth about rewards. They only help if you pay your balance in full each month. If you carry debt, the interest you pay often wipes out any benefit. $1 of interest can cancel out $1 of rewards. Yet the shine of rewards keeps you swiping. You feel like you are winning, even while you are slowly losing. Pause here and breathe. Notice how rewards feel in your body. They feel light, exciting, almost playful. That feeling is by design. Card companies know that rewards trigger the same parts of your brain that light up with prizes. It is a small rush of pleasure, but the brain does not hold both feelings at once. The joy of the reward hides the pain of the balance until later. Another story helps. Daniel signed up for a card that offered a big cash bonus if he spent a certain amount in 3 months. He bought a new television and furniture, thinking the bonus would cover part of the cost. He did earn the bonus, but he could not pay off the purchases in time. The balance rolled forward, interest grew, and within a year, the bonus was gone many times over. What looked like easy money became heavy debt. This is why rewards are tricky. They frame spending as earning. You are told you earn points or cash when you swipe. The word earn makes you feel productive, but you are not earning, you are spending, and the card company is earning from you. The points are only a fraction of what you gave them. Seeing this clearly helps you make choices with open eyes instead of closed ones. Think of how many times you may have justified a purchase because of rewards. A shirt on sale plus points feels like a deal. A dinner out plus points feels easier to say yes to. The card turns wants into needs by attaching a small prize. Without noticing, your budget stretches. The cost grows, hidden under the glitter of rewards. Let us breathe again. This is not about blame. Everyone falls for the shine at some point. Rewards are made to be tempting. They are made to feel like gifts, but they are not gifts. They are part of a system that makes spending feel less painful. Once you know this, you can pause. You can ask yourself if the reward is worth it. Many times, the answer will be no. But rewards are not always harmful. When used with care, they can give small benefits. If you pay your balance in full, you can enjoy points for travel or cash back on groceries. Some people treat their card like a debit card, only spending what they have, and then pay it all at once. For them, the rewards are truly extra. The trap is only when balances are carried, because interest costs more than rewards return. Think of Sarah. She used her card for gas and bills each month, then paid it in full. At the end of the year, she had saved $200 in cash back. It felt good because she had not paid a cent in interest. For Sarah, the card was a tool. She never spent more than she planned. Her story shows that rewards can help, but only with discipline and awareness. So why do so many fall into the trap? Because the shine of rewards hides the risk. Advertisements show smiling people flying for free, not tired people paying down balances. Friends talk about the points they earned, not the interest they paid. Social media shows luxury travel from rewards, not the quiet debt behind the scenes. The silence feeds the illusion. Pause again. Let yourself feel the pull of rewards. Then let yourself feel the truth. Rewards are not wrong, but they are not free. They are a trade. You give the card you're spending, and it gives you back a fraction. If you carry a balance, the fraction disappears. If you pay in full, the fraction remains. Knowing this helps you choose. Knowing this gives you peace. The lesson here is simple. Rewards are only valuable if they do not change your habits. If they make you spend more, they are a loss. If they make you carry a balance, they are a cost. If they fit into the spending you already planned, they can be a small gift. The difference lies in awareness. The difference lies in pausing before you swipe. We close this chapter with a softer reflection. You are not weak for liking rewards. You are human. Everyone enjoys feeling like they are winning something. Everyone enjoys being told they earned a prize. What matters is seeing the full picture. Tonight, you have seen it. The glitter does not blind you anymore. The shine has softened. And yet, another shape of the trap is waiting. Beyond rewards is the new promise of buy now, pay later. It feels even easier than credit cards. It splits your purchase into small parts, no interest if paid on time. Many think it is safer, but it carries its own risks. In the next chapter, we will step into that world and listen to the soft promise of buying now and paying later. You are resting as the glow of rewards fades from your mind. You heard how points and miles shine like gifts, but often cost more than they give. You felt how easy it is to swipe more when you think you are earning something. Now we step into another part of the story. It is newer, it is softer in appearance, and it whispers an even easier promise. Buy now, pay later. The words feel like comfort. They feel like freedom. But what waits beneath them is another hidden weight. Buy now, pay later is everywhere. You see it when you shop online. A dress costs $100, but the site says you can pay $25 today and spread the rest across 3 more payments. A pair of shoes for $60 can be split into 4 gentle parts. The numbers look small, and the offer feels safe. No interest if paid on time. The screen says, no fees if you do it right. For many people, this feels like a way to buy without fear, but small payments are still payments. 425s still add to 100. If you make several buy now, pay later purchases at once, the payments overlap. You pay for shoes, for clothes, for gadgets, all in small parts, all at the same time. At first, the weight is light, but soon the parts pile up. You begin to feel stretched. The comfort turns into pressure. What was promised as freedom becomes another schedule to keep. Think of Maya, a young worker who loved shopping online. She used buy now, pay later for new clothes, home items, and gifts. Each purchase was only $30 or $40 up front. She told herself it was safe. But soon, she had 7 different plans running. Every week, another small payment was due. Together, they were more than her budget allowed. She started missing payments, and late fees appeared. The plans that felt soft at first became hard lines on her account. The truth of buy now, pay later is that it hides the total cost. By showing you small parts, it makes the whole seem smaller than it is. Your mind focuses on the first piece and forgets the rest. This is how you can end up with more than you planned. It is not because you are weak. It is because the system is designed to make spending feel light. Once you see this, you can understand why so many fall into the same trap. Another quiet risk is that, buy now, pay later does not always build your credit history. Paying on time may not appear on your credit report, but missing a payment can. This means that the good work you do may not help you, but the mistakes you make can still hurt. It feels unfair. The promise of no interest and no credit check hides the fact that silence can turn into noise when you stumble. Pause here and breathe. Let your shoulders drop as you think about this. Buy now, pay later is not evil. It is a tool like a credit card. But tools have edges. If you hold them without care, they cut. Knowing this helps you choose when to use them and when to step away. You do not need to fear them, only to see them clearly. Think of David. He wanted a new laptop for work. He saw the option to split it into 4 payments and chose it. He paid each one on time and was done in 6 weeks. The plan worked for him because he had already saved the money but wanted to spread it out. For David, the tool helped. For Maya, the tool hurt. The difference was not in the system, but in the way it was used. Awareness makes all the difference. There is also the emotional side of buy now, pay later. It feels kinder than credit cards. The words are softer. Pay later feels less scary than debt, for payments feel friendlier than interest rates. This is why so many young people choose it. They trust it more than banks. They feel it belongs to them, not to a faceless company. But beneath the soft words, the same truth remains. You are still borrowing. You are still promising your future money. Let us reflect on how this feels in the body. When you click buy now, pay later, you feel relief. The item is yours, and the cost feels far away. But when the payments begin, the relief shifts into tension. Your paycheck feels smaller, your budget tighter. Each week or month, you are reminded of the choice. The small payments gather like drops in a cup. Soon, the cup is full. Seeing this helps you understand the emotional cycle. There is also the risk of stacking. Many people use buy now, pay later because their credit cards are already full. They see it as extra room to breathe. But extra room often leads to more weight. If your card is near the limit and your buy now, pay later plans are due, the stress multiplies. This is how people get caught between 2 systems at once. Each feels helpful on its own, but together they become heavy. Breathe again. This is not about blaming yourself if you have used buy now, pay later, and felt the weight. It is about knowing the full picture. You are learning tonight, and that learning is enough. You are giving your future self the gift of awareness. That is what matters. Another story shows this clearly. Jenna used buy now, pay later for holiday gifts. She thought it would help her spread the cost. But in January, when her rent and bills came due, the payments stacked on top. She had no space to breathe. She missed 2 installments and received penalty charges. The gifts that brought joy became reminders of stress. She promised herself she would think twice next time. Yet for some, buy now, pay later can be a bridge. If used carefully, it can help manage cash flow. If tracked closely, it can give space without heavy interest. The challenge is not the tool, but the silence. Too few people are taught how it really works. Too few understand the risks, that silence feeds the trap. Tonight, you are breaking that silence. Tonight, you are seeing the promise for what it is. The lesson here is soft but clear. Buy now, pay later is debt in disguise. It is split into smaller pieces, but the cost is the same. If you treat it as debt, you stay in control. If you treat it as free, you lose control. Awareness is the line between peace and stress. Awareness is what you are building now, so let your body rest deeper. Let the shame soften. You do not need to feel guilty for the choices you made before. You did what you knew at the time. Now you know more. That knowledge is already shaping your future. You are learning to see the promises for what they are. You are learning to choose gently with care. We end this chapter with a quiet truth. Tools like buy now, pay later are not enemies. They are mirrors. They show you how you make choices, how you balance today with tomorrow. When you see the mirror clearly, you can decide with calm. That calm is the beginning of financial peace. And yet, there is another shape of the trap still waiting. Beyond soft words and small payments lies the hidden weight of credit utilization. Even if you pay on time, even if you avoid late fees, using too much of your limit can lower your score. In the next chapter, we will step into this hidden measure and see why the numbers you never thought about matter so much. You are still resting, listening softly as the story moves forward. In the last chapter, you heard about the promise of buy now, pay later. You felt how small payments can pile up until the weight becomes heavy. You saw how kind words can still hide a trap. Tonight, we step into another piece of the puzzle. This one is less visible, yet it touches your score and your sense of worth. It is the measure of credit utilization. Credit utilization sounds like a big phrase, but it is simple. It is the amount of credit you use compared to the total credit you have. If you have a card with a limit of $1,000 and you carry a balance of $800, your utilization is 80%. If you carry only $200, it is 20%. The number is not printed in big letters on your bill, but it is quietly noted in your credit score. The system sees high utilization as a sign of risk. Even if you always pay on time, using too much of your limit can pull your score down. It makes lenders think you are stretched thin. This hidden weight can feel unfair. You are making payments. You are not missing dates, yet your score drops anyway. Many people do not know why. They only feel the confusion when they check their score and see it fall. Think of Alex, a young worker who used his card for everyday expenses. He paid the minimum, and sometimes more, never missed a due date, but his score still slipped. When he learned about utilization, he saw the reason. His card limit was $2,000 and his balance was $1,500. That meant his utilization was 75%. Even though he was paying, the high percentage made him look risky. The emotional sting of this hidden weight is real. You may think you are doing everything right, but still feel punished. You may wonder why the system is unfair. You may blame yourself without knowing the rules. The truth is that utilization is not about morals. It is not about worth. It is only a formula. Once you understand it, you can make choices that soften the weight. Pause and breathe. Let the air in and out. Notice how your body feels when you think about being judged by a number. It can feel heavy, like a shadow on your chest. But remember, the number is not you. It is only a measure used by lenders. It can change, it can rise, and you have power once you know the rules. Here is the soft truth many experts share. Keeping your utilization below 30% is better for your score. Lower is even better, like 10% or less. This does not mean you must pay off everything at once. It means that making smaller payments throughout the month or keeping balances light can lift the number. Small steps create shifts. The system is watching not only if you pay, but how much space you leave unused. Think of Maria. She had two cards, one with a limit of $3,000 and one with a limit of $2,000. She used one card heavily, close to the limit, and left the other unused. Her score dropped. A friend told her to spread her spending. She paid down the first card to under $1,000 and started using the second for small purchases. Suddenly, her utilization looked lighter. Her score began to rise. The change was not about more money, but about balance. There is also another quiet trap here. Closing a card you no longer use can hurt your utilization. If you close an account, your total credit limit shrinks and your percentage rises. Many people do this thinking it will help them stay disciplined. They cut the card and close the line. But the system only sees less available credit. If you still carry balances, your utilization goes up, the score falls. This is another hidden weight, often unseen. Let your breath calm again. There is comfort in knowing the rule, even if it feels unfair. You are no longer lost. You can see why numbers move. You can plan with awareness. You can keep old accounts open with zero balances. You can spread your spending. You can pay down parts before the statement date. These small choices give you space to breathe. Another story helps. James had a limit of 1,000. He often carried 900, paying it slowly. His score was low, and he wanted to rent an apartment. The landlord checked his report and hesitated. James decided to change. He used a tax refund to pay his balance down to 200. Within weeks, his score climbed. He had not changed his income or his habits, only the percentage. The weight lifted and doors opened. The meaning here is clear. Utilization is not about failure. It is about awareness. When you see the rule, you can use it. You can decide when to pay, how to balance, how to keep space on your cards. You can give yourself the gift of a higher score, not by magic, but by simple timing. Awareness turns confusion into calm. Still, the weight of utilization can stir shame. You may feel small when your score is low. You may think you are behind others, but scores are not permanent. They move like tides. They rise when you change patterns. They fall when you stretch too far. What matters is not one moment, but the flow over time. You are not frozen in place. You are on a path. Pause again and soften. Imagine your balance as water in a glass. The glass is your limit, and the water is what you owe. If the glass is almost full, the system worries you have no room. If the glass is mostly empty, the system feels safe. This picture can help you see why utilization matters. It is not about judgment, it is about space. We end this chapter with another reflection. Your worth is not tied to your score. Your humanity is not measured by utilization. These are rules of a game you did not design, but knowing the rules gives you choice. Choice brings peace. Peace lets you rest. Tonight, you have learned how utilization hides in the shadows and how awareness can lift it. And yet, another part of the system waits ahead. Beyond utilization and numbers lies the difference between secured and unsecured credit. Some people begin with deposits that protect the bank. Others step into trust without deposits. Each path carries lessons about safety, rebuilding, and starting fresh. In the next chapter, we will walk into that space and see how different cards shape different beginnings. You are still lying quietly, letting the story settle inside you. In the last chapter, you heard about credit utilization. You learned how using too much of your limit can lower your score, even if you never miss a payment. You saw how spreading balances and keeping space open can lighten the hidden weight. Tonight, we move to another part of the journey. It is about the kinds of cards people carry when they are beginning, when they are rebuilding, or when they are ready to take a new step. These are secured and unsecured cards. A secured card begins with a deposit. You give the bank money, maybe $300 or $500, that money becomes your security. If you do not pay your bill, the bank keeps the deposit. In return, they give you a card with a limit equal to your deposit. To some, this may feel strange. You are using your own money to borrow. Yet for many, it is the first step into the system. It is a way to prove trust when the past has not yet shown it. Think of Alina. She was 22 and had no credit history. She wanted to rent an apartment, but the landlord asked for a credit report. She applied for a regular card and was denied. Then she tried a secured card. She gave the bank $300, and they gave her a card with a $300 limit. She used it for gas each month, paid it in full, and after a year, she had a credit history. The secured path had opened a door that was closed before. An unsecured card is different. It does not ask for a deposit. The bank offers you a limit based on your income and your history. If you are new with no history, or if you have missed payments before, the bank may say no. But if you have shown reliability, they may give you a higher limit. An unsecured card feels freer, but it also carries more risk. The bank trusts you without holding your money, and that trust can be heavy if you are not ready. The choice between secured and unsecured is often not about desire, but about circumstance. Some start with secured because they must. Others start with unsecured because they can. Neither path is better in worth. They are simply different beginnings. What matters is how you walk the path, paying on time, keeping balances low, building slowly. These actions matter more than which card sits in your wallet. Pause and breathe. Feel the difference in your body when you think of secured and unsecured. One feels like training wheels, steady and protective. The other feels like open road, faster and freer. Both can carry you forward. Both can tip if you rush. Let the breath remind you that either path can be safe when you move gently. Another story may help. Marcus had made mistakes with money in his 20s, missed payments, high balances, even a card that went into collections. When he was 30, he wanted to start again. He applied for new cards, but was rejected. Then he found a secured card. He put down $500 from his savings. It felt humbling, but also hopeful. For a year, he used it carefully. His score rose, and soon he was approved for an unsecured card with a $1,000 limit. The secured card was like a bridge, carrying him back to trust. This shows another truth. Secured cards are not punishments. They are tools for rebuilding. They let you step back into the system with a shield around you. They show the bank that you can be steady. They show yourself that you can be disciplined. The deposit is not lost. It is waiting, and it often returns when the bank trusts you enough to upgrade. For those with unsecured cards, the lesson is different. The limit is given freely, but it must be held with care. Many feel proud when they are approved for a higher limit. They think it means they can afford more, but the limit is not a reflection of wealth. It is an invitation to borrow more than you need. Awareness keeps the pride from turning into pressure. Let us pause again. Breathe in, breathe out. Notice how it feels to think of your own card. Do you feel safer with a deposit behind it? Do you feel trusted with no deposit at all? Both feelings are real and both carry weight. The important part is not how you began, it is how you continue. Some people carry both secured and unsecured cards. They may keep a secured one open to show steady history even after moving on. They may use it for small expenses each month, paying it in full, letting it be a quiet anchor in their report. Others close it once they graduate, moving fully to unsecured. Each choice has meaning. Each choice can be valid. There is also an emotional layer here. A secured card can stir shame. Some people feel embarrassed to tell others that they had to put down a deposit. They think it proves weakness. But the truth is softer. Using a secured card is not weakness. It is courage. It is saying, I want to learn, I want to grow, I am willing to take steps. That courage is worth more than pride. An unsecured card can stir anxiety. Some people feel fear when they see a high limit. They worry they will spend too much, that they will fall again. They feel pressure from the open road. But this too is human. The fear can be a guide. It can remind you to move slowly, to set personal limits, to treat the card as a tool instead of a gift. Awareness turns fear into safety. Think of Thomas. He received his first unsecured card with a limit of $5,000. He had never held that kind of access before. At first he wanted to celebrate, but then he remembered stories of friends who slipped into debt. He decided to set his own rule. He would never use more than $500 at a time. He wrote it down and followed it. For him, the unsecured card became a lesson in discipline, not a trap. The meaning of this chapter is clear. Secured and unsecured are not about good or bad, they are paths. Each person walks the path that fits their season. Each path can lead to growth. What matters is awareness, patience, and choice. You can begin again no matter where you are. You can build trust, whether with a deposit or with discipline. Both paths lead forward. Let your body relax. Deeper now. Feel the calm of knowing there is no shame in either card. Feel the peace of knowing that growth is possible from any place. Feel the gentle truth that you are learning step by step without judgment. This is how money becomes less heavy. This is how sleep becomes easier. We close this chapter with a reflection. Secured cards are like seeds. They begin small, planted in trust, and grow into larger branches. Unsecured cards are like doors. They open to wider rooms, but they must be walked through carefully. Both belong to the same journey. Both bring lessons you can carry. Tonight, you have heard these lessons, and they belong to you now. And yet, another part of the story is waiting. Beyond secured and unsecured cards lies something even less visible. It is the psychology of design, the way cards are made to shape your behavior. The colors, the swipes, the taps, all built to make spending feel easier. In the next chapter, we will walk into this hidden design and see how it touches the mind as much as the wallet. You are still resting after the last chapter, where you heard about secured and unsecured cards. You learned how some people begin with deposits that build trust, while others step directly into open credit. You felt how both paths can carry lessons without shame. Now we step into a different space. It is less about rules and more about design. Credit cards are not only numbers, they are objects built to shape your behavior. Their look, their feel, and their use are carefully made to change how you spend. Think about the first time you held a card in your hand. It was small, smooth, and light, yet it carried power far beyond its size. The color may have been bold. The letters were shiny. Some cards were designed in black or gold to feel special. Others were simple but neat, with your name written in a way that felt personal. None of this was by accident. Card companies know that appearance shapes emotion. When you feel proud of the card you hold, you are more likely to use it. Now remember how you pay with a card. You do not count bills. You do not see money leave your wallet. You swipe, insert, or tap. The action is quick. The purchase is approved in seconds. The brain feels pleasure from getting something, but the pain of paying is delayed. With cash, you feel the loss immediately. With a card, you feel only the gain. This is why spending on cards is higher than spending with cash. The design is made to reduce friction, and reduced friction increases use. Take a breath here. Notice how your body feels when you imagine tapping a card compared to handing over cash. One feels fast and light, the other feels slower and heavier. That difference is psychological. Card companies study it. They make payment easy so that you do not stop to think. The easier it feels, the more often you do it. The design is not neutral. It is built to guide you quietly into more swipes. Consider Emily. She once paid for groceries with cash, counting each bill, watching her wallet thin. Later, she switched to using her card for the same store: a magazine, a candle, a snack. The card approved them all without pause. At the end of the month, her bill showed more than she remembered. Emily had not changed her habits on purpose. The design of the card had changed her experience of paying. Rewards, which we spoke of earlier, also tie into this psychology. When you know you are earning points, the act of swiping feels like progress. It feels like you are moving toward something instead of losing money. Your brain treats each swipe as a small win. This makes it harder to resist and easier to justify. The card becomes not just a tool, but a game. Games keep people playing longer than they expect. Let us pause and breathe again. None of this means you are weak for spending more with a card. It means you are human. The important part is not shame, but awareness. When you see the design, you are no longer moved by it blindly. You can pause and ask, do I want this? Or am I swiping because it feels easy? That pause is power. Another layer of design is status. Some cards are made heavy, with metal instead of plastic. Some are colored black or platinum. They are advertised as exclusive. They give access to lounges, early boarding, or hotel upgrades. Carrying them can make people feel special. The feeling of status is powerful. It can encourage more spending, not always for need, but to live up to the card. The design makes you tie your identity to what you hold in your wallet. Think of Daniel Hughes, approved for a premium card with a high annual fee. The card was heavy, made of metal. He felt proud to use it in front of others. He began to charge dinners and trips he would not have taken before, partly to match the image of the card. His debt grew quickly. Later he realized that the pride was planted by design. These designs are not accidents, they are strategies. A card is a product. It is made to bring profit to the company. Lower friction, stronger rewards, and status symbols all bring more use. The more you use, the more likely you are to carry balances, pay interest, and generate fees. Pause again, feel your breath moving. Notice how these truths land in your body. Maybe you feel a sense of recognition, remembering your own swipes and how they felt easier than paying cash. Maybe you feel a soft anger, realizing that design played a role in your choices. Let both feelings pass. What matters is not blame, but clarity. There is one more design trick worth noting. Many card apps and statements show spending in categories. They color code, highlight, and show graphs. These tools can help you see, but they can also numb you. When spending is shown in percentages instead of dollars, it can feel smaller than it is. When charts are bright and clean, the weight of debt feels less heavy. Again, the goal is to soften pain and keep you swiping. A story shows this well. Kevin used his bank app daily. It showed his spending in colorful circles. He felt organized, almost proud, yet his balance was higher than ever. The clean design made him feel safe, but the numbers were still real. When he finally looked at the dollars instead of the charts, he realized how far he had gone. The meaning here is gentle but strong. Cards are not only financial tools, they are psychological tools. They work with your mind, your emotions, and your habits. They are designed to reduce friction, reward behavior, and tie identity to spending. Knowing this gives you choice. You cannot change the design, but you can notice it. You can pause before it works on you. Awareness is the shield. Take another slow breath. Let yourself feel lighter with this knowledge. You do not need to be angry or ashamed. You only need to know that the design exists. Tonight, you have seen it. You are already freer than before. The shine, the weight, the quick tap, the heavy card, all of it is less powerful once you name it. The card in your wallet is not neutral. It is built to guide you, often against your own peace. But you are not helpless. You are learning. You are awake to the patterns. That is enough. And yet, another step in the journey is waiting. Beyond the design of cards lies the invitation of higher limits. You may receive letters or emails saying, "Congratulations, your limit has increased." It feels like approval, almost like a reward. But more rope can also mean more risk. In the next chapter, we will hear about the illusion of higher limits and how they can both help and harm. You are still resting as the story continues to unfold. In the last chapter, you heard how the design of cards shapes your feelings. You learned how the colors, the taps, and even the weight of the card are chosen to make spending easier. You saw how psychology works quietly in the background, changing your choices without your awareness. Tonight, we step into another part of the trap. It is the offer of more space. Banks call it a credit limit increase. At first, it feels like a gift. But, like every gift in this system, it carries two faces. A higher limit can appear in your inbox without warning. The subject line may say "Congratulations." The message may praise your responsible use. It feels like approval, like a teacher giving you a gold star. Some people even celebrate, "With more room, you can buy what you could not before." With more room, your utilization ratio looks lighter. With more room, you feel trusted. But more room is also more rope. Rope can help you climb, but it can also tighten around you if you slip. Think of Lauren. She had a card with a limit of $2,000. She carried a balance of $1,000, which was already hard for her to pay. One day, she received an email. Her limit was raised to $4,000. At first, she felt relief. Her utilization dropped from 50% to 25%. Her score rose. She thought things were finally better. But within a year, her balance had grown to $3,000. The new space had tempted her into deeper debt. The gift became a burden. This is the illusion of higher limits. On paper, they can help. They give you more space, and space can improve your score if you keep balances steady. But the human side of the story is different. A bigger limit often feels like bigger freedom. People start to spend more, telling themselves they still have room. Slowly, the balance rises, and soon the new space is filled. What looked like relief becomes another trap. Pause here and breathe. Notice how your body feels when you think of being offered more. Do you feel a pull of pride? Do you feel temptation? Both are normal. The offer is designed to stir those feelings. The bank wants you to accept because higher limits mean higher potential balances. Higher balances mean more interest, more fees, more profit. The gift is not for you. The gift is for them. Still, higher limits are not always harmful. When used with care, they can help you. If you keep your spending steady and do not treat the extra space as yours to fill, your score can rise. This can open doors to cheaper loans, better apartments, or new opportunities. The key is to see the increase not as approval to spend, but as an invisible buffer. The danger comes only when you cross the line between buffer and temptation. Consider Mark. He had a card with a $5,000 limit and carried only $500. When the bank raised his limit to $10,000, he did not change his habits. He still carried $500, his utilization dropped from 10% to 5%, and his score rose. He was approved for a car loan at a lower interest rate. The increase helped him because he saw it as space to protect, not space to fill. The difference between Lauren and Mark was not the bank, it was awareness. Lauren saw more space as an invitation. Mark saw more space as a shield. One choice led to deeper debt. The other led to stronger credit. The lesson is gentle but important. How you see the gift shapes what it becomes. Let us breathe again. You are not weak if you have filled the extra space in the past. You are human. Everyone feels the pull of more. The system is built to make you feel it. Tonight, you are learning that the gift has two sides, knowing that truth changes the story. It gives you power to pause. It gives you choice to keep the space empty. Another risk of higher limits is tied to emergencies. Some people use the new room to cover unexpected costs. A car repair, a medical bill, a sudden job loss. In the moment, the card feels like rescue. And sometimes it is. But once the emergency passes, the balance remains. The relief is followed by stress. The climb back is harder because the rope is longer. This is why banks gladly give more room. They know life brings surprises, and they know you will reach for the card when it does. Think of Jasmine. She lost her job and leaned on her card for 3 months. Her limit had been raised earlier, and she was grateful for the space. It paid her rent and her food. But by the time she found work, she owed $6,000. The balance took years to pay down. She did not regret using the card, but she wished she had known how long the shadow would last. The limit felt like a lifeline, but it became a chain. Higher limits also affect your emotions. Seeing a large number on your account can create pride, but it can also create fear. Some feel anxious carrying that much potential debt. They worry they will slip. They feel pressure to avoid temptation. This stress is real. The gift is not always calming. Sometimes it stirs unease. Pause and breathe. Feel the truth in your chest. A higher limit is not good or bad, it is space. Space can be used with wisdom, or space can be filled without thought. The choice is yours. Knowing this makes the rope easier to hold. You can climb with it instead of being tangled by it. Another story shows this well. Peter had a card with a limit of $8,000. He treated it like it was still $2,000. He ignored the extra space. He set his own ceiling. To him, the higher limit was not real. It was background. Because of this, his score rose quietly while his stress stayed low. He learned that the bank's numbers did not have to define his own. The meaning of this chapter is gentle but strong. Limit increases are illusions. They appear as rewards but are designed as traps. They can help when used wisely, but they often harm when followed blindly. The key is awareness, patience, and restraint. You do not need to fill the space you are given. You can keep it empty. Empty space can be safety. Let your body rest deeper now. Feel the calm of knowing that more is not always better. Feel the peace of knowing that you can choose how to see the gift. Feel the strength of knowing that you are learning to pause before you accept. This knowledge is a shield you can carry with you. We close this chapter with reflection. Banks offer higher limits because they know the pull of more. But you are not bound to that pull. You are learning to see through it. Tonight, you have softened the illusion. You are freer than before. And yet, another part of the story waits ahead. Beyond limits and balances lies the truth about how credit cards can still protect you. Even in a system built for profit, there are safeguards for you: fraud protection, dispute rights, and the ability to build trust for the future. In the next chapter, we will walk into these protections and see how cards can serve as shields as well as traps. You are resting deeper now, your breath steady as the story continues. In the last chapter, you heard how banks offer higher limits as if they were gifts. You saw how more space can feel like safety, but can also tempt you into deeper debt. Tonight, we step into a softer place. It is about the protections hidden inside credit cards. For all their traps, cards also carry shields. These shields are not always explained clearly, but they are real, and they can help you when life brings trouble. The first shield is fraud protection. When you use a debit card and someone takes your number, the money leaves your bank account, and you may wait weeks to get it back. But with a credit card, the law is on your side. If someone uses your card without permission, you are protected. Your responsibility is small, and most times the bank covers it all. This protection can feel like a guard standing quietly at your door. Think of Olivia. She was shopping online and later learned her card number had been stolen. Someone tried to buy a laptop across the country. The charge appeared on her statement, but when she called the bank, it was removed. She did not lose $1. She felt shaken by the theft, but safe knowing she was not alone in the fight. This shield gave her peace. Another shield is the right to dispute charges. If you pay for something that never arrives, or if a service is not delivered as promised, you can call your card company. They can pause the charge, investigate, and often return the money. With cash or debit, you would have to argue with the seller yourself. With a credit card, you have an ally. This shield is like a friend who speaks for you when your voice is ignored. Consider Ethan. He booked a hotel online, but when he arrived, the hotel was closed. The company refused to refund him. He called his credit card, explained the story, and the charge was reversed. He felt relief wash over him. The shield was invisible until he needed it, and then it was strong. There is also protection for big purchases. Some cards extend warranties or offer coverage if an item is damaged or stolen soon after buying. They can turn a card into more than a payment tool. They can turn it into a safety net. The knowledge that a purchase carries extra care can ease the fear of spending on something important. Pause here and breathe. Feel how your body softens when you think of being protected instead of punished. Credit cards are not only traps, they are also tools designed with safety features. When you know them, you can rest easier. You can trust that if something goes wrong, you are not without help. The shield is quiet, but it is real. Over time, that record opens doors. It can help you rent an apartment, buy a car, or even lower your insurance costs. It can make lenders trust you with better rates. This is not about pride, but about opportunity. A good history is a soft key that opens doors when you need them most. Think of Maya. She started with a secured card, paying small bills each month. After 2 years, her history showed steady use. She applied for a loan to buy her first car and was approved with a fair rate. The card had not only been a way to spend, it had been a way to show trust. This shield of history is quiet but powerful. It proves your story in numbers others believe. There is also protection in emergencies. A card can give you access to funds when life surprises you. This is both a trap and a shield. If you use it without awareness, the balance lingers. But if you use it as a bridge while you find stability, it can protect you from worse outcomes. The key is to treat it as a temporary rope, not a permanent crutch. Let us pause again. Breathe in and out. The balance between danger and safety is delicate, but the truth is both exist. You can hold both in your hands. You can respect the risk while still accepting the help. This balance is what makes peace possible. Some protections are less known, but still helpful. Travel insurance, rental car coverage, and purchase alerts all come with certain cards. These are not reasons to overspend, but they are small gifts that exist. They remind you that the system is not only against you, it also carries tools you can use when you know they are there. A story shows this. Daniel rented a car and declined the insurance because his card included coverage. When the car was scratched, the card company paid for repairs. He saved hundreds of dollars. He realized that sometimes the card can be more than plastic. It can be a partner if he treats it with respect. The meaning of this chapter is gentle but clear. Credit cards carry both traps and shields. The traps grow from silence, from not knowing the rules. The shields appear when you learn them, when you use them with care. Knowing both sides lets you rest. You are no longer blind. You can protect yourself and still move forward. Close your eyes now and let this truth settle. You are not powerless in this system. You are not always at risk. You have tools, you have rights, you have protections. You have the ability to call, to dispute, to rebuild, to rest. That power belongs to you tonight. We close this chapter with a reflection. Cards are like double-edged objects. They can cut, but they can also protect. The difference lies in awareness. You are learning awareness. Each chapter is another light. Tonight, you have learned that shields exist, and they are within reach. And yet, another part of the journey is waiting. Beyond protections and shields lies the deeper work of climbing out of debt itself. Many carry balances that feel endless. Many wonder if freedom is even possible. In the next chapter, we will step into that climb and see how small steps can bring gentle progress out of the spiral. You are resting more deeply now as the story moves forward. In the last chapter, you heard how cards carry not only traps, but also shields. You saw how fraud, protection, dispute rights, and credit history can guard you when life grows uncertain. You learned that the same tool that tempts you can also defend you. Tonight, we step into a harder but more hopeful part of the journey. It is about the climb out of debt. The balances may feel endless, but they are not. With gentle steps, even heavy debt can be lifted. The first truth is that debt feels larger than numbers. It is not only the balance on the page, it is also the shame, the silence, and the weight in your chest. You may feel small when you look at your statement. You may feel powerless when the interest grows. But remember, feelings are not facts. The balance is real, but so is your ability to change it. The climb is possible, even if it begins with the smallest step. Think of Jasmine. She owed $5,000 spread across 3 cards. Each month, she paid only the minimum. The balances hardly moved. She felt trapped. Then, she learned about the snowball method. She decided to pay as much as she could toward the smallest balance, while still paying the minimums on the others. In a year, she cleared 1 card completely. The feeling of success gave her strength. Then she moved to the next. Slowly, with patience, she climbed. The snowball grew as her confidence grew. There is another method called the avalanche. It focuses on the highest interest first. Think of Carlos, who owed $10,000 across several cards. 1 card had a much higher rate than the others. He chose to send extra money there while paying the minimums elsewhere. At first, the progress was hard to see, but after months, the balance began to drop faster. By saving on interest, he freed more money to pay the rest. The climb became smoother. Pause here and breathe. Notice how your body feels when you imagine progress. It may feel lighter, like space opening in your chest. That feeling is important. Debt is heavy because it feels endless. But once you see progress, even small, the endlessness fades. What matters is not the size of the step, but the direction. Upward is upward, no matter how slowly you go. There is also the gentle power of habit. Paying a little extra with every paycheck can create change. Rounding payments up, sending small amounts during the month, or applying windfalls like tax refunds or bonuses can shorten the climb. Each act may seem small, but together they move mountains. Mountains are climbed not by leaps, but by steady steps. Think of Maya, who set up autopay for her minimum and added $20 more each month. At first, she thought it was too little to matter. But after a year, she had paid hundreds more than she would have otherwise. The interest shrank and the balance moved. The small habit became a quiet rhythm, and the rhythm carried her forward without stress. The emotional side of the climb is just as important. Debt can whisper lies in your mind. It says you are behind. It says you are foolish. It says you will never be free. These voices are heavy, but they are not true. You are not behind. You are learning. You are not foolish. You are human. You will be free because you are listening and acting. Every choice you make now proves the voice is wrong. Another story helps. Ethan carried debt for 10 years. He felt ashamed to tell anyone. One day he spoke with a counselor. For the first time, he said the numbers out loud. Instead of judgment, he heard compassion. Together, they built a plan. In 5 years, he was debt-free. The greatest relief for him was not only the money, but the silence that ended when he spoke. He realized shame had been heavier than the debt itself. Pause again, breathe deeply, and let your shoulders relax. The climb out of debt is not only about paying, it is also about healing. It is about telling yourself that you are worthy of freedom. It is about trusting that small steps matter. It is about remembering that time passes anyway. Each payment, no matter how small, is proof that you are moving toward peace. Debt also teaches patience. It cannot be erased overnight, and that is okay. The slow pace is not failure. It is growth. Each month you show up. Each month you pay. Each month you learn discipline. The climb becomes less about the numbers and more about who you are becoming, stronger, calmer, wiser. That is the gift hidden in the struggle. Think of Lauren. She once saw her balance as a cage. After years of slow payments, she realized it had taught her to plan, to wait, to find joy in simple things. When the last payment was finally made, she cried, "The freedom was real, but the lessons were deeper." Debt had been her teacher. She walked away not only free of balances, but also free of fear. There are also tools that can help. Debt consolidation loans, balance transfers with zero interest, or nonprofit credit counseling programs can create structure. These tools are not magic, but they can simplify the climb. The key is to use them with awareness. A rope is helpful when climbing a mountain, but only if you hold it firmly. Without awareness, the rope can tangle. With awareness, it steadies you. Let us breathe once more. Imagine yourself climbing. Each step is a payment. Each stone you pass is a month behind you. Look up and see the light at the top. It may feel far, but it is there. With each breath, with each step, you are closer. Even if you cannot see the summit yet, trust that it exists. Trust that you are moving. Trust that you will arrive. We close this chapter with reflection. Debt is heavy, but it is not forever. The climb is slow, but it is possible. The voices of shame are loud, but they are lies. Tonight, you have seen the path upward. You have heard stories of people who climbed and reached freedom. You can be one of them. You are already walking. And yet, another part of the journey waits ahead. Beyond the climb out of debt lies the question of what security really means. Many believe security is only about money in the bank. But security is also about feelings, habits, and the quiet sense of safety that money cannot always buy. In the next chapter, we will explore the deeper meaning of financial security and how it connects to peace in your daily life. You are resting now, your body softer after walking through the climb out of debt. You heard how small steps, steady habits, and gentle patience can free you from balances that once felt endless. You saw how freedom is possible, even when the mountain looks high. Tonight, we turn to something deeper. It is the question of security. Many think security is only money in the bank, but true security is more than numbers. It is a feeling of safety that flows through your days, a calmness that money alone cannot create. Security begins with enough to pay the rent, enough to buy food, enough to know the lights will stay on. For many people, this is the first layer of peace. Without it, everything feels unstable. The body stays tense, sleep feels shallow, and choices feel heavy. When you reach the point of enough, your shoulders lower. You can breathe without fear of losing what you need. But security does not end there. The next layer is protection. You heard in earlier chapters how credit cards carry shields like fraud protection and dispute rights. Security also grows when you know that surprises will not break you. An emergency fund, even small, is one way this protection appears. $300 set aside can mean safety when a car breaks down or when medicine is needed. The number does not need to be large. What matters is the feeling it gives. A quiet assurance that you will not be caught with nothing. Think of Daniel. He lived paycheck to paycheck for years. A single bill could throw him off balance. Then he started setting aside $20 a week. After months, he had $500 saved. When his tire blew out, he paid for it without using a card. The sense of relief was greater than the money itself. He realized that security is not about wealth, it is about knowing he had a cushion. Another layer of security is trust in your own habits. Money can rise and fall, but habits remain. If you learn to spend with awareness, to save a little each month, to check your accounts without fear, you build a sense of control. This control is gentle. It does not make life perfect, but it reminds you that you can respond to challenges. Trust in yourself is one of the strongest forms of security. Pause here and breathe. Think about what security feels like in your body. It feels like softness in your chest, calm in your breath, warmth in your stomach. It is not only a number on a page, it is a state of rest that spreads through you. You can feel it even before the numbers grow. You can feel it in the trust you are building tonight, step by step, story by story. Security is also about perspective. Some people earn large incomes but still feel anxious. Others earn modest incomes but feel safe. The difference lies in how they see money. If you believe money is always scarce, no amount will ever feel like enough. If you believe you can live with balance, even smaller sums can bring calm. This is why security is both external and internal. It is both numbers and feelings. Think of Rachel. She earned more money than she ever had before, yet she was always restless. Her balance grew, but so did her spending. She felt like the ground was slipping under her feet. One day, she sat with her journal and wrote down what she truly needed to feel safe. The list was short: a home, food, care for her child, and a little savings. Once she focused on that list, she felt calmer. The extra beyond that was no longer tied to her sense of worth. Security is not the same as wealth. Wealth measures how much you own. Security measures how safe you feel. Many chase wealth, thinking it will bring security, but often the chase only brings stress. Security is quieter. It is built in habits, in choices, in the way you see yourself. It is built in knowing you can handle what life brings, not in owning everything you see. Pause and breathe again. Feel how freeing it is to know that security is within reach, no matter your income. It does not demand perfection. It does not demand riches. It asks only for enough, for protection, for trust in yourself. That is the shape of true security. Another story helps. Maya lived with fear of bills for years. She thought she needed to double her income to feel safe. But when she started saving $50 each month and keeping a written budget, her anxiety lessened. Her income stayed the same, yet she slept better. She realized that her sense of security was not tied only to money, but to clarity. Clarity gave her calm. The meaning here is gentle, but important. Security is not only a destination, it is a practice. Each small step you take, aging a little, paying on time, protecting yourself from fraud, learning new truths adds to your sense of safety. Over time, the practice becomes a feeling. The feeling becomes a foundation, and the foundation becomes your peace. Let your body sink deeper into the bed now. Feel the comfort of knowing that security is possible, even for you. Feel the warmth of knowing that it is not about being perfect. It is about being present. You are already building it tonight by listening, by learning, by breathing. We close this chapter with reflection. True security is not only numbers in an account, it is the calm of knowing you have enough. It is the safety of knowing you are protected. It is the trust you have in your own habits. It is the perspective that reminds you to live with balance. These truths are already alive in you. You are safer than you think. And yet, another part of the journey is waiting. Beyond the feeling of security lies the practice of ritual. Small, daily, and weekly actions can keep you steady, like anchors in your financial life. In the next chapter, we will step into these rituals and see how they bring comfort, structure, and peace. You are resting now with the softness of security still warm inside you. In the last chapter, you heard how true safety is not only about money in the bank, it is also about feelings, habits, and the perspective that shapes your peace. Tonight, we move into the quiet power of ritual. Rituals are small, repeated actions that anchor you when the world feels uncertain. They give shape to your days and comfort to your mind. With money, rituals can be the difference between fear and calm. The first ritual is checking without fear. Many people avoid looking at their accounts. They worry the numbers will bring shame. But silence makes the worry heavier. A gentle ritual is to check once a week at the same time with a calm heart. You light a candle, sit with tea, open your account, and breathe. You do not judge the numbers, you only look. This small act removes the unknown. The unknown is scarier than the truth. Think of Sophia. She used to hide from her statements. Months would pass before she dared to open the envelopes. Her anxiety grew each day she avoided them. Then she created a ritual. Every Sunday morning she made coffee, sat at her kitchen table, and opened her accounts. At first it was hard, but after weeks it became normal. Her fear shrank. The ritual turned something painful into something peaceful. Another ritual is the weekly review. You write down what you spent, even if it is small. A notebook, a phone app, or a piece of paper on the fridge can hold the numbers. By writing them, you bring them into the light. The light removes shame. The habit makes you feel in control. Over time, you see patterns. You notice what repeats and what can be changed. The review is not about judgment, it is about awareness. Pause here and breathe. Imagine yourself writing down 3 numbers each week: food, gas, and 1 small extra. The act is simple, but the effect is deep. You begin to see where your money flows. You begin to feel calmer. The ritual gives you clarity, and clarity gives you peace. There is also the ritual of saving. It can be automatic, where money moves to savings each payday without thought. Or it can be manual, where you choose an amount and set it aside. Either way, the ritual builds the habit of keeping something for your future self. Even $5 a week becomes a ritual of care. The amount matters less than the action. The action says to your future self, I am looking out for you. Consider Jordan. He set an automatic transfer of $20 each paycheck. At first, it seemed too small to matter, but after a year, he had saved over $500. He realized the money was not the only gift. The ritual itself made him feel secure. Each payday, he knew a piece of his income was being cared for. That feeling gave him more peace than the number alone. Another ritual is paying on time. Autopay can help, but so can a personal reminder. Mark the due dates on a calendar. Celebrate each time you pay. Do not see it as money leaving. See it as strength showing. Each payment is proof that you are reliable, that you are building trust. The ritual of paying on time turns obligation into pride. Pause again. Breathe in the calm of ritual. Rituals are not rules forced on you. They are gentle actions chosen by you. They give rhythm to your money life, the way brushing your teeth gives rhythm to your mornings. They are small, but they protect you from bigger pain. They are the anchors that hold you steady when waves come. Think of Rachel. She created a ritual of planning her week on Sundays. She looked at her calendar, her bills, and her meals. She wrote a list of what money would go where. The ritual took only 20 minutes, but it shaped her entire week. She stopped feeling surprised by expenses. She began to feel prepared. The ritual gave her more than control. It gave her peace. Some rituals can be symbolic, putting spare change in a jar, writing affirmations about worth, or keeping a photo of your dream in your wallet. These small actions connect money to meaning. They remind you that money is not only numbers, it is part of your life, your hopes, and your rest. Rituals turn money from an enemy into a companion. Another story may help. Ethan kept a journal where he wrote one line about money each day. Sometimes it was, "I am grateful for food today." Sometimes it was, "I spent $10 on coffee." Over time, the journal showed his relationship with money changing. He began to see patterns of gratitude instead of patterns of guilt. The ritual gave him a new lens. Rituals also heal wounds from the past. If you grew up with silence or shame around money, rituals give you a new script. They replace chaos with rhythm, fear with structure, silence with voice. Each time you repeat the action, you teach your body that money is not danger. It is something you can handle with calm. The healing grows with each cycle. Pause once more and feel this truth in your body. Rituals are not about perfection. You may miss a week. You may forget a step. That is okay. The power is not in never failing. The power is in returning. Each time you return, the ritual becomes stronger. Each time you return, you remind yourself that you care enough to try again. We close this chapter with reflection. Rituals are anchors. They hold you steady in storms. They turn fear into habit, chaos into rhythm, shame into clarity. They are not big or complex. They are small and repeated. They are yours to create, yours to hold, yours to return to. Tonight, you have heard their power. They can be part of your story too. And yet, another step in the journey is waiting. Beyond rituals lies the softer dream of choice. Once you feel secure, once your habits are steady, you begin to see wealth differently. Wealth is not only money, it is the freedom to choose, the freedom to rest, the freedom to live gently. In the next chapter, we will explore how true wealth is not about more, but about enough and the ability to choose. You are resting deeper now, carried by the rhythm of rituals. In the last chapter, you heard how small, repeated actions create anchors in your money life. You saw how checking without fear, saving with care, and planning with rhythm can turn chaos into calm. You felt how rituals heal wounds by replacing silence with structure. Tonight, we step into the final part of the journey. It is the heart of what all these lessons have been leading to. It is the freedom of choice. Choice is the softest form of wealth. It is the ability to say yes when something matters and no when it does not. It is the calm that comes when you know you have enough to decide without fear. True wealth is not measured by numbers alone. It is measured by the safety of knowing you are not trapped. It is the gentle power of deciding your own path. Think of Emma. For years, she worked jobs that left her drained, always saying yes because she needed the paycheck. When she finally built a small cushion of savings and paid down her debt, something shifted. One day she was offered overtime she did not want. For the first time, she felt free to say no. The money would have been nice, but the rest mattered more. That moment of choice was the richest she had ever felt. Choice is also about time. When money is tight, time is often sold. You work extra hours, take on extra shifts, say yes when your body wants rest. Security gives you back your time. Even a small emergency fund can mean you can take a day off when you are sick. Paying down debt can mean you no longer need to work late every week. The wealth of time is often greater than the wealth of money. Pause here and breathe. Think about what choice feels like in your body. It feels like lightness in your shoulders, space in your lungs, softness in your chest. It feels like waking up and knowing the day belongs to you. That feeling is worth more than the shine of any card. That feeling is the treasure hidden in this journey. Choice is also about dreams. When debt weighs heavy, dreams feel far away. You tell yourself you will wait until later. Later becomes later again. But when the weight lifts, space opens. You can dream without guilt. You can choose to save for travel, for education, for a home, for a hobby that brings joy. You can choose to give to others, not out of pressure, but out of love. Dreams become possible because choice gives you permission. Think of Daniel. He always wanted to learn the guitar. For years, he told himself it was a waste. The lessons cost money, and money was always tight. When he finally cleared his credit cards and built savings, he signed up for weekly lessons. The guitar did not make him rich, but it made him alive. The freedom to choose joy was wealth greater than any number. Choice is not about always saying yes. It is also about saying no. No to the offer of a higher limit. No to the temptation of rewards that cost more than they give. No to the fear that tells you you are behind. Each no is a form of choice. Each no is a step toward peace. When you can say no without fear, you are free. Pause again and breathe deeply. Let your body rest into the truth that choice is wealth. You may not control everything, but you can control some things. You can control what you spend, what you save, what you prioritize. You can choose to pause before swiping. You can choose to rest before worrying. These small choices add up. They shape your life. Choice also grows when shame fades. When you no longer hide from statements, when you no longer judge yourself for mistakes, you feel safe to act. You feel safe to plan. Shame freezes choice. Compassion frees it. This is why the journey you have taken through these chapters matters. Each step has been softening shame and building compassion. Each step has been giving choice back to you. Another story helps. Leah lived for years afraid of her finances. She avoided decisions, hoping problems would go away. One night, she began writing down her expenses. Slowly, she faced what she had been avoiding. Over months, she built rituals, paid down balances, and grew her savings. The day she chose to book her first vacation in years, she cried, "The trip was not expensive, but the freedom to choose it was priceless." Choice is also about giving. When you feel trapped, giving feels impossible. But when you find balance, giving can become part of your life. It does not need to be large. A meal for a friend, a donation to a cause, a gift to family. These choices remind you that money is not only survival, it is also connection. The freedom to give is one of the deepest forms of wealth. Let your breath calm again. Imagine yourself holding the ability to choose. Not everything, not always, but enough. Enough to feel safe, enough to feel free, enough to feel alive. That is the true goal of financial peace. Not riches, not status, but choice. We close this chapter with reflection. The freedom of choice is the soft treasure at the heart of this journey. It is the point where rituals lead, where security blossoms, where debt no longer rules. It is the quiet ability to shape your life with gentle decisions. That is what all the chapters before have been leading to. That is what you are holding tonight. And yet, the story is not over. Beyond choice lies reflection itself. A gentle closing of the loop, where you gather the lessons, breathe with them, and rest in their meaning. In the next and final part of this journey, we will walk into the conclusion, tying every thread together and leaving you with a soft farewell for the night. You are resting now at the end of this long journey. Together we have walked through fog, through traps, through shields, through rituals, and into choice. We have seen how cards tempt and how they protect. We have heard how interest drips, how minimums stretch, how rewards glitter, and how limits expand. We have felt the sting of late fees and the lure of small payments that add up over time. And through it all, we have looked not only at money, but at the feelings beneath it. This journey has not been about perfect rules. It has been about gentle truths. Truths that tell you confusion is not failure. Truths that remind you shame is not identity. Truths that show you even the smallest step forward matters. Tonight, you carry these truths with you. You do not need to hold them tightly. You can let them settle in your heart, soft as a blanket. Think of how far you have come. In Chapter 1, you sat in the fog of childhood memories, remembering how silence and shadows shaped your view of money. In Chapter 2, you heard the quiet drip of interest, the cost that grows without warning. In Chapter 3, you saw the illusion of the minimum, the small box that hides a long road. In Chapter 4, you felt the sting of being late, the shame that comes with a missed due date, and the relief of repair. You then stepped into the shine of rewards in Chapter 5, realizing how glitter can hide deeper costs. In Chapter 6, you walked through buy now, pay later, a new kind of trap dressed in soft words. Chapter 7 showed you utilization, the hidden weight of using too much space. Chapter 8 reminded you of secured and unsecured paths, each with lessons, each with courage. In Chapter 9, you learned about design, how cards are made to feel easy to shape your choices. Chapter 10 revealed the illusion of higher limits, a gift that can free or bind. Chapter 11 gave you comfort, reminding you of protections, of shields that guard you in times of need. Chapter 12 carried you through the climb out of debt, showing you snowballs, avalanches, and slow but steady steps. By Chapter 13, you found the shape of true security, learning that it is not wealth alone, but enough protection and trust in yourself. And Chapter 15 gave you choice, the quiet treasure that wealth truly means. The choice to say yes, the choice to say no, the choice to live with calm. Now you are here at the close. The lessons are many, but their meaning is simple. Money is not your enemy. Debt is not your identity. Mistakes are not your shame. Money is a tool, sometimes heavy, sometimes kind. It is part of your story, but it is not the whole story. The whole story is you. Your breath, your heart, your life. Pause here and breathe. Feel your body melt into the bed. Feel your shoulders drop, your jaw soften, your hands rest. You have listened with care. You have faced truths that once felt scary. You have stayed to the end, showing yourself that you are strong enough to learn that strength is real, that strength belongs to you. Remember this as you drift to sleep. Security is not only about numbers, it is about knowing you are safe enough to rest. Wealth is not only about more, it is about having enough to choose. Peace is not only about freedom from debt, it is about kindness toward yourself, even when the balance remains. Think of tomorrow, the sun will rise, your life will continue, your money story will still unfold. But tonight, you can rest, knowing you have walked a long path. You have filled the silence with words, filled the fog with light, filled the fear with compassion. That is enough for now. Let yourself sink deeper. Your breath is steady, your mind is calmer, you are safe. The story has given you clarity, but more than that, it has given you permission. Permission to rest, permission to learn slowly, permission to begin again. We close with these soft words. Tonight, maybe you can stop proving and simply rest, because you are still learning, still worthy. And tomorrow, your story with money will keep unfolding. And you, dear listener, are allowed to write it gently.